Hello, YouTube. This is the Galley La Podcast, and today we are going to do, I would say this would fall under the category of a One Piece analysis video of the characters of Jewelry Bonney versus Eustace Captain Kidd, and how they were portrayed in the story and utilized, and how I think we're both at the conclusion here that Bonney was utilized more properly and efficiently than Eustace Kidd. So please like and subscribe if you have not. Leave a comment below, give your thoughts on these two characters, how they were utilized, and our commentary on this. We love hearing from you guys. And then also spoiler warning up to let's just say up to the most recent One Piece chapter. So just keep that in mind for the duration of this video and all the rest. So and I believe the last chapter was it was chapter 1121. So yeah, spoiler warning there. So so I think in Wano, my expectations, like you and I, we have pretty negative views on Wano as a whole. You can check out our ARC reviews if you guys want to see our full thoughts on Acts 1, 2, and 3. We did reviews on that. I had high expectations for Kidd, and I was actually a pretty big fan of Act 1 of Wano because it kind of set up these expectations, you know?
Yeah.
And you had Oda portray them as basically equals, you know, where they're both in the dungeon saying they wanted to get even with Kaido, you know, and you had that beautiful exchange between Killer and Kidd, you know, where we get the reveal that what was it, Kamazo? Was that it? The scythe wielder, right? That it was supposed to be Killer, right? Yeah, was actually Killer. And you know, I thought that was like really great storytelling. It was a great character moment for them both. And then we got to a point in Wano where, I mean, I wouldn't even say Kidd did have like a good performance, but I feel like the narrative push behind his character really fell to the side, you know, and it just Luffy became the center figure again, you know, even though Kidd had a really impressive showing against Big Mom.
Yeah. For me, I just feel like, all that potential that Kidd had in terms of the storytelling just faded away. Because it's the whole thing where he's like, oh, I'm gonna get you, Kaido, look what you did to Killer, what you did to my crew and everything, and like he had a personal vendetta against Kaido, but he doesn't even like begrudgingly like pass it off to Luffy to go after Big Mom. He's just like, oh, I'm gonna go after Big Mom. It's like, well, you're the person you're beefing with is still up on the roof. What you can chase Big Mom, that's fine, but like you're leaving your whole vendetta to Luffy at this point.
Yeah, Big Mom, Big Mom didn't really even do anything to Kidd. Like, if anything, Kidd got nothing but W's against Big Mom.
Yeah, you know? They had history, but like he stole the poneglyph and everything, so.
And I think that's kind of the issue there. It's like, I mean, I think there's just so many things that fell to the side with Act 3 of Wano where it just kind of was a little bit of a disaster, narratively speaking. And we have to shoehorn Luffy in as the MC that takes down the big bad, you know, and even though it doesn't even make character sense for him to just let that go and everything like that, you know, so, and even though Luffy like fell off, you know, Gashima, Kidd doesn't fill that spot, right? It's like, no, we're just gonna hold off and wait until Luffy gets back up there. And it's like, well, no, naturally Kidd would be like, oh, Straw Hat's dad, I gotta go back up there, this is my chance now, you
exactly
know?
Yeah, because Kidd will take any chance that he gets,
right?
Because he's not
because
he's not
they're
nice
portrayed as equals, right? Yeah, they're not as nice, but they also have big ambition, both of them, as they portrayed in the Onigashima jail. The Unan prison, you know.
Yeah. I just feel like relating it back to Bonney, Oda knew I feel like Oda knew what he wanted to do with Bonney compared to Kidd. Kidd's just kind of there to fill in like a strong person spot, but narratively I don't think that he had too much to do. I mean, that could change if he gets back up at Elbaf, you know, and
I think
does something with
yeah.
Shanks.
I think I would disagree slightly. I think he did know what he wanted to do with Kidd, but I think Wano was such a mess where it destroyed his plans for Kidd. But I mean, just because of the way he portrayed him with that ambition and everything, you know, and Kidd having some off-screen W's and how he drew up Kidd and Killer. While I think in Egghead, it's a completely fresh new start, and he had a lot more time to breathe. And he didn't have all the baggage, which is the Kozuki Odin, you know, crap, basically. You know, like just suffocating the screen time. You know, and I like look. There were some positives. I'm not trying to be overly harsh, but that was such a huge weight, the Wano stuff, that all that baggage lore, that it suffocated all these other characters to have a good development. While in Egghead, you don't have that. There's not, you know, we're not bringing by Momo, Kinema, and Kanjuro, you know, Raizo, and then like all the history. There's not much in the way of history in Egghead. You know, we just bring in pre-established characters to have them developed on this island, and that's it. You know, and I think that's why I think Bonney is blessed with like the circumstances of Egghead, because I think if she was introduced to Wano, I think she'd be a horrifically written character.
Well, I think like from the get-go, like I said earlier, Oda knew what he wanted to do with Bonney because he had the powers already established, like not knowing her age and everything. He had the like her you saw her crying at the end of Marineford, connecting her with Kuma, seeing him turn into the cyborg, and then her captured by Blackbeard because she's technically a celestial dragon, and Akainu coming with that. It's just all these little crumbs that build up her character that culminates in Egghead. That I feel like she was much better implemented in this story arc. Like this arc was like the culmination of everything with her character, compared to Kidd in Wano, which it kind of looked like it was going to be, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, I would say there was some build-up with Kidd just even going to Sabaody. He had a far more prominent role than she did, you know?
Yeah.
And we had the build-up when Kaido dropped out of the sky with Hawkins and Apu there, you know?
Yeah, but
he had a higher bounty than Luffy at one point, right? You know, and so, but I do agree. I think in a way there was probably more of a cleared idea, but at the same time, there was some build-up for Kidd too. I just think like he got the misfortune of being displayed in Wano.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm not saying that there was none. I'm just saying that that Bonnie's was, I guess, subtler. And just the payoff with the Kuma flashback and like she goes after Saturn. Like she thought Vegapunk was responsible. She went after him because she thought that he did all this to Kuma just by himself, but once she learned everything, she turned her eyes toward Saturn. And I mean, we saw in the last chapter she like delivered like quote unquote the final blow with Luffy in that team up attack. And I just find that a lot more narratively satisfying than anything that Kidd did.
Well, Kidd didn't even get a flashback.
That's true. He joined Zoro where his flashback was relegated to the SBS corners.
Well, also Capone got more of a flashback than Kidd did. You know, like like I think I like all of the supervillains. Yeah. You know, like I think they're all really cool and unique in their own way. And I think and I do like Kidd in that, and you know, too. And I think like what's frustrating is if he wasn't introduced in Wano, you could easily see like if we just trimmed a lot of the baggage off of Wano, then like it would have allowed him to have a backstory and be more liked by the community and make him more interesting of a character, you know. And we didn't get that, you know. We got like all this other stuff, like freaking Orochi coming back over and over and over again. You know, right? I mean, there's a lot of examples. We have Yamato introduced as a character, like, out of nowhere, and I know a lot of people like Yamato, but my whole issue with Wano is, like, they introduced all these characters, and it led to the detriment of pre-established characters. You know, like Drake, like Hawkins, like Killer, like Kid, and I would say even to an extent, like some characters like Zoro. You know, so I think there's like a bit of a frustration with that too. While, like I said, Egghead's so much more clean. It's to the point. There's no baggage. Point A, point B, to point C, and we're hitting all the things we love about One Piece now. You know, we're not stuck in this saga context in which we were previously established in with the Wano Yonko saga.
Yeah. But I guess for me, I just find, like, if Killer had his backstory showed, did I say Killer or Kid? Sorry.
Okay. I mean, both and in that sense, you know.
They're they're intertwined. That's what it is. But if they had their backstory shown, I feel like it could have helped a lot. But it would have bloated Wano even more.
We could have trimmed some stuff out for it pretty easily. I don't think people would be like, "What? Orochi only came back once?"
Yeah.
You know,
they could have cut Kaido's flashback for all the good he did his character. But
that's true.
But anyways, but yeah, I just feel that in terms of writing, Bonney, I feel, is, I think, just a better written character. Not just because she has a sad flashback or whatever, but in terms of like her interactions with the Straw Hat crew and her implementation of the story, I think is a lot better than Kid's.
And I think there could have been a potential there for Kid. Like, for example, I like Bakugo and My Hero Academia, and I think Bakugo and it's like a kind of a great parallel for Kid, you know, in this circumstance, you know. But Oda just didn't do it well with that, you know. Like, it's kind of like Oda wants him to be a prominent part of the story, but he doesn't give him the respect to develop him at all as a character,
especially with the one of the latest episodes where he just gets destroyed by Shanks.
Yeah, right. And like, and Law gets like, and I love Law as a character, but he gets all this development, and it's like, oh, like, you get insane amount of screen time, you know. And it's like, okay, well, give Kid like a little bit, because all three of these are like, we're like put on equal footing on Sabaody, you know. And like I said, you know, so like Law had his moment to breathe. Like, Law didn't get much development on, right? But he had moments to develop it in Punk Hazard and Dressrosa, like tons, you know. He basically got 2 arcs, you know. While Kid got nothing. You know?
It's a lot of setup for Kid with very little payoff. But but exactly. I will admit that there is the potential that the payoff will come in Elbaf. Because I don't think that he's out of the story, even though he's been defeated at this point. Much like I don't think that that Law's out of the story, even though he got defeated by a Blackbeard.
I mean, I would say with Kid, he made such a point to emphasize how bad he got wrecked. It kind of leads to a more reasonable expectation he'll have a bigger comeback, if anything.
Yeah.
You know, like, they were utterly destroyed. The ship was destroyed. The poneglyphs were taken. One shot. Right? I think it kind of leads more to that expectation that he's going to grow, and things like that too. So, I don't know. I think that's kind of a thought. And I mean, I had a friend of mine watch that recent anime episode, and he is a Kid fan, but he was kind of irritated. Like, I wanted to see like a more well-developed fight, but it was just kind of came off as Shanks, like, hyping, and he was just using Kid as a hype tool. And he wanted to see it more like a Law Blackbeard fight rather than like what we got there, you know. But like, Oda's so like focused on Shanks all the time that he, like, Shanks is like the immaculate one, Like he can never have like any dirt against him, you know, and he was willing to like again like crap on Kidd even more, just the hype of Shanks, even though Shanks has got plenty of hype throughout the series, you know. Which I think is true. Like I sometimes I think the Shanks stuff gets annoying, like whether it's like with Green Bull or like coming to Marineford or one shining Kidd, you know. It gets a little excessive sometimes, you know, where you know, it's just kind of like, okay, we get it. We get it already, you know.
Yeah.
And I think especially when it rips apart characters who haven't had that development yet, you know.
But yeah, I mean, Shanks is part of the final group. Like in the latest chapter, it showed the final people, and Kidd was not included, but he could be.
Yeah, I think because that's how Oda works, though, right? For a comeback, if he like puts him in the face with all the others, like, oh, then we know Kidd's gonna have a comeback 100%.
Yeah. Right. I'm just waiting for this discussion to be aged terribly once Kidd does something really cool.
Well, I mean, we had expectations of Kaido's flashback, so
yeah, that's true.
You know.
Yeah, but yeah, I like I said, I just think that Bonney, Oda wrote Bonney a lot better, I feel. Yeah. Just in terms of like character motivation and paying that off, and setting up the her story kind of in the background, and fulfilling that in Egghead. I think that this is just the the comparison between Egghead and Wano at this point in terms of writing, because that's
right, exactly.
Yeah, because that's their most prominent arcs, and Egghead, even though it's like half the length, and like it's much tightly. It's better written, more tightly written.
But I think ironically enough, we've got into more juicy quality narrative points than Wano did in a way. I mean, maybe that's controversial, but think of what we've gotten. We've gotten Lucci, Haku, Stussy development. We got Kizaru development, Vegapunk, Sentomaru, Bonney, Kuma, flashback.
Yeah. The elders.
A little bit of the elders, a little bit more development with just Sanji. There's a little bit of a tease there too. Things like that as well. We get to see the Straw Hats all interact as a full crew again.
Yeah.
Which is terrific. We got to see all the parts of the world reacting to Vegapunk and things like that too. And then we saw the Shanks versus Kidd, and we saw Law versus Blackbeard too. So I think it hits every good aspect of One Piece while being like an insanely smaller portion compared to Wano, you know. And I think the biggest benefit is that it's just there's no Kazuki anything, period. The end, except in the cover story. You know, right? It's just so much better to be in an island that's not Brits. I mean, it's an important place, but just in terms of technology, you know, which is kind of fascinating to think about. And also it incorporates the O'Hara incident and all this other stuff too, right? You know, with the archaeologists and the revolutionaries more. So it's just way better written. It's just so much better.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot that was in the Wano stuff too, but I feel like a lot of it was kind of not as well connected as what's happening on Egghead, you know?
No. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm waiting to see what Kidd does in the future, but I'm not holding my breath. And I don't think that Bonnie's gonna join the crew or anything, but I like her interactions with them and everything. And I just wonder what she's gonna do with the Seraphim potentially. But yeah.
Yeah, and I will say the only supernova left is Aruj, and I think Aruj is so thankful that he wasn't put in Wano because his character would have got annihilated like Kidd, Killer, and Hawkins and Drake.
Yeah.
You know, I think Appu is the only one that kind of got out unscathed in a way in terms of his character. You know, all the others just got destroyed.
Yeah,
you know?
he's chilling with that number.
Yeah. Like, I think if anything, he got a couple cool moments. I wouldn't say he was developed as much as a character, but like, he had some cool fight scenes that are originally like, okay, cool. I could be like one of the most beloved supernova still because I wasn't in that crappy arc, you know? So.
Exactly.
So yeah, but those are my thoughts though. And anything else you want to finish off?
No, that's it.
All right, cool. So everybody, leave your thoughts below on what we've discussed here. I know we covered a lot of ground and everything. So yeah, just give your takes. So please like and subscribe if you are not. We'll have a Tower God review and a Jujutsu Kaisen review coming out shortly, and then we'll review the One Piece chapter coming out this week too. So anyways, I'll see you guys. You have a good one. Peace.
See ya.